God bless you.
Whatever. Careful! Good day to you. God bless.
If you're hungry, just let me know. I have some well-aged...
Look out! Are you going to do laundry today?
No, sorry.
Innkeeper, have you got anything to eat?
What about the bridge behind the Jelly Tavern?
God bless.
We could block it with
Here it
sand and
comes.
rocks at night.
You're having problems with the Jelievites?
Not just me, my friend. They're the biggest bastards around. They've been nothing but trouble for years. The winter before last, they piled snow in front of everyone's doors at night, so no one could get out of their house. And last year, they broke into my cellar and pissed in my beer barrel.
Gracious. I hope you got your aim back on them.
Not yet, no. But since you're here, I've got a plan you could help me out with. I'd pay you well. You can count on that.
At least you know when to round up the cattle and
What exactly would you like me to do?
Don't worry. I won't make you do any shoveling or pissing anything. But I'll tell you exactly what I have in mind, only after you promise to help me. I'd hate to reveal my plan, only for you to go off and tell the Jelievites right away.
Well, if you've got it all figured out, why don't you do it yourself?
Right. And who's going to run the inn in the meantime, eh? Besides, everyone in Jelioff knows us. If someone from here shows up there, they'll get suspicious.
All right. I'll help you.
Listen up then. Old Olbram, the owner of the biggest plot of land in Zhelyov, has this beautiful bull. White as snow he is, the finest animal far and wide. Obviously, he's very proud of it. Very protective too. Now you, will give his beautiful snow-white bull a nice new coat of paint. Olbram is going to lose his mind. Simple, right?
Painting a bull, eh? That sounds like fun.
Right. We just have to work out a few details. First, we have to get some paint. I don't reckon we'll be able to get any here in the village, but you can try and ask Bartoszek, the tailor in Trotskovitz. I hear he dyes his own fabric. And after that, we'll have to make sure the bull stays still while you're painting it. Try asking Radovan, the local blacksmith. I hear he can make some kind of sleeping potion. If you pour it in the bull's water trough, I'm sure it'll do the trick. But watch out. That beast is enormous. You'd better put at least 3 doses of the potion in there.
All right, then. Olbram's bull will be getting a new coat of paint.
Olbram's going to lose his mind. I can't wait. And remember, it's supposed to be a joke. If you get caught or something goes wrong, the whole thing will be ruined.
Right. So I need paint, sleeping potions, and to not get caught. Why do you and the Zhelyov lot hate each other so much, anyway?
It's their fault. They keep playing tricks on us. Olbram's the worst of them all. The nasty old codger. He's always coming up with ways to mess with us. He's the one that stole our pasture.
What pasture did they steal from you?
The one that stretches from the orchard behind the Tachov down to the gamekeeper's lodge. It's been ours since time immemorial, but the Zhelyevites took it from us.
And how did they take it from you? You can't exactly stuff a pasture in your purse and walk away with it.
Save the jokes, will you? This is fucking serious. There's a tree down by the gamekeeper's lodge that marks the edge of our land. My father, God rest his soul, was there when they agreed on it. He got a proper ass kicking so he'd remember it, and remember it he did. But then fucking Olbram came along, claiming it was the other way around. And that pasture belonged to Zhelyov.
Well, can't you all just reach some kind of agreement?
Do you think we haven't tried? But there's no talking to the Zhelyevites. Year after year we meet in that pasture. I tell it like it was, but Olbram always starts spewing his lies. Then we end up arguing until the sun sets. And when the Zhelyevites are at wit's end, they come at us, and nothing ever gets solved. We managed to convince them to at least give us back half the pasture. But I know the whole bloody thing belongs to us. We can't just leave things like this.
Have you tried asking Lord von Burgov for help?
Of course, but he'd have none of it. He said it's up to the Trotskovitz bailiff to sort it out. But the bailiff couldn't care less. He said we should deal with Olbram ourselves, or he'll have us caned and clapped in the pillory.
What's new around here?
Vostotek. Lord von Beregov's huntsman is a regular here. He might have some work for you. He's got a cottage near Vidlak Pond. So if you know your way around the woods, you could go and offer him your help. I hope he hasn't started drinking somewhere else. He's my best customer. You could also stop by and see Old Mouth. He's the local storyteller. He could tell you all sorts of interesting things, but only if you bring him some liquor. Don't forget, I have some here to sell, if you want. And that's all I'd say.
Sounds interesting. Thank you, innkeeper. Can I spend the night here?
Not a chance. Go back to where you came from, you wastrel.
What do you want?
I'll have a look at your wares.
Nothing suits your fancy, eh?
It's like I'm invisible or something.
That's a fine maypole.
Good day to you.
I need something that'll put animals to sleep. Project said you might know something.
Well, it's true. I used a concoction that will put even a startled mare to sleep in no time. I once accidentally drank some and slept for 3 days. But the recipe is an old blacksmith's secret. The kind you don't just give away.
No, I don't want it just for the sake of it. I need to use it against the Zhelyov lot.
So, Project and Olbram are at it again. Blockheads, both of them. And the place was just getting really nice and quiet lately. Well, what the hell. Maybe if I help you out, they'll start trading punches sooner and get it all over with. Pay up, and I'll tell you the secret.
Thank you.
So, did you want to make a deal or not?
Wouldn't you tell a fellow blacksmith? My dad was a swordsmith, and I used to help him a lot.
But you didn't pay much attention, did you now? Otherwise, you'd know the recipe by now, and you wouldn't be asking me.
I'll buy your sleeping potion recipe.
So, did you want to make a deal or not?
All right. Well, I'll manage without your help. I heard you could use a helping hand at the forge.
I could. My last two hands, well, they're not worth mentioning. And what with the wedding coming up, the work is piling up. What do they call you?
Henry.
I'm Radovan. You should know, Henry, that blacksmithing isn't for everyone. Have you done it before?
Yeah. I basically grew up in the forge. My father was a swordsmith, and not just any. He even forged swords for the nobility.
For the nobility, eh? Well, that kind of experience will come in very handy for me indeed. As it happens, I have to forge a wedding present for young Lord Semine. A fine sword.
So you'll take me on?
Hold your horses. I'll have to try you out first. You could forge me a hunting sword as a test, so I can see if you can make a straight blade. That shouldn't give you much trouble if your father was a swordsmith, should it?
Sure thing. I can get started right away.
Great. Find some iron and get started then.
Iron?
You can't make a sword out of butter, but if you don't have your own stuff, you can get everything from the chest in my forge. Go over to the anvil and let's get started. Are you gonna get started then? Furnace is cold now. Give it a practice try. Some things, like swords, are too long to fit in the fire. You have to heat it up bit by bit. Try poking it around for a bit. Now get the furnace nice and hot. There's a lever above you. Give it a pull. It works the bellows. God's wound, Henry. What are you waiting for? Heat it up. Be able to tell when it's in the fire. You have to take it out from time to time and take a look. Try it out. See? It's the color of straw, which is what you want, and you heated the whole thing up. Nicely done. Now you can go straight to the anvil. Try moving the sword along the anvil so you can get the hang of it. Now take the hammer and try hitting it a few times. See the sparks? That's the sign of a good strike. The more sparks, the better. Also, you can hammer with different degrees of power. A stronger hit will do more, but it'll tire you out faster. Try giving it a few blows, as hard as you can, so I can see how strong you are. That's got a nice ring to it. Of course, if it was all about hitting an anvil with a hammer, any dolt could do it. You've got to hammer the workpiece evenly. One hit next to the other. Very nice. You're doing just fine. But when I say evenly, I mean it. A sword has two sides, like a lot of other things, including myself. Turn it over and continue on the other side. Nice. Now try forging it on both sides. The closer it is to being finished, the more it will take on the shape you want. It'll cool off soon anyway. Hurry up now. It's cooling and you're not doing anything. It's cooled now. You can't do it all in one go. You've got to put it back in the furnace from time to time. Sometimes you've got to go there and back all day. But it's all part of the craft. Now, get back to the forge and heat it all up again, like before. Heated up now, so come over to the anvil. Hear that? Besides the sparks, you can tell a good strike by the sound it makes. The ring you want. That's the ring you want. The sparks. See how it's taking on the right shape? That's how you can tell it's almost finished. Now, I've got a piece of advice for you. Hammer to a rhythm. When I hammer a piece to a beat, the work goes by easy. Sometimes I'll whistle to myself to keep the rhythm. There you go. You've got it finished. All that's left is to temper it, and the sword will be done. The rest is just tweaking. Right. Let's have a look. Very nice work. Your father taught you the trade well.
He'd certainly be happy to hear that.
If you carry on hammering as well as you did today, you've definitely got a job here. Even so, keep in mind, it's all about making sure every strike does its job. That's why you can't let it get cold, or keep striking the same spot. If you work evenly, each strike falling right next to the last one, you can't go wrong. Got that? Or is there something else you want to ask about?
What good does it do me to whistle while I work?
It makes you work to a rhythm. You won't get tired so quickly, and the iron feels it.
How do I know a good strike from a bad one?
By the sparks that fly up, and by the ring. It rings out with a different sound when you do it right.
What's the right way to heat up the workpiece?
Do it till it turns the color of straw. Ideally, the color should be the same everywhere, if your forging's going to be even. The main thing is, don't work it cold. You just ruin it. But don't overheat it either. As soon as sparks start to fly off it in the furnace, take it out.
Why should I forge evenly?
If you keep hammering the same spot, you'll never finish it. You'll just fuck it up. But jumping from one end to the other ain't a good idea neither. You'd end up working unevenly. The best thing to do is aim each strike next to the one before.
How will I know it's finished?
Notice the shape. The closer you are to finishing, the more precise the shape it will have.
Thanks. That's all I need to know.
You can sleep in the chamber by the woodshed. And there's a chest where you can keep your things. And of course, you can use the forge anytime you want. Any questions?
Where can I get materials?
You can buy some essentials from me. But if you want to make a fancy sword with lots of ornamentation, you'll have to look elsewhere. This is just a village, you know. The locals ain't after luxury. And they can't afford it neither.
What can I do with the items I've forged?
Well, you can sell them. Though you probably won't have much luck around here. But I'll happily buy some of the nicer things from you.
Where exactly is my bed?
At the side of the house, there are 2 doors and a wheelbarrow between them. You go in by the rear door, next to the woodshed, and you can put your things in the chest there. Don't worry, nobody'll steal them.
What now?
What do you think? You're not going to be idle. I'll find you some work to do right away. You're pretty good at swords, but what the locals really need is axes and horseshoes. Right, here are some simple drawings that show what they're both supposed to look like. And some iron. You can get down to it right away.
Just like that? You aren't going to help me?
Sacre, lad. I chose you because you already know a thing or two. I'm not going to look over your shoulder all bloody day. You take care of these smaller jobs. Forge away as long as you're able, and then sell it all. Once you've made some coin and feel like being out in the open again, I'll give you some more interesting work.
I heard you could teach me something.
Sure, why not? If you pay me, I'll teach you a few of my tricks. What is this about?
What do you have for sale?
I hope you'll be satisfied, my friend.
There's a couple more things I'd like to ask about smithing.
Ask away.
Thanks. That's all I need to know. I'm still not really sure of myself in the forge. Could you show me again how it's done?
Why not? Better to practice now than fuck up an order. Why don't you forge me another hunting sword? Have you got what you need?
Yeah, I have.
Let's see what you can do then. Are you gonna get started then? Furnace is cold now. Give it a practice try. Some things, like swords, are too long to fit in the fire. You have to heat it up bit by bit. Try poking it around for a bit. Now get the furnace nice and hot. There's a lever above it. Give it a pull. Work the bellow. You can tell the temperature by the color, but you won't be able to tell when it's in the fire. You have to take it out from time to time and take a look. Try it out. See? It's the color of straw, which is what you want. And you heated the whole thing up. Nicely done. Now you can go straight to the anvil. Try moving the sword along the anvil so you can get the hang of it. Now take the hammer and try hitting it a few times. See the sparks? That's the sign of a good strike. The more sparks, the better. Also, you can hammer with different degrees of power. A stronger hit will do more, but it'll tire you out faster. Try giving it a few blows, as hard as you can, so I can see how strong you are. That's got a nice ring to it. Of course, if it was all about hitting an anvil with a hammer, any dolt could do it. You've got to hammer the workpiece evenly. One hit next to the other. Very nice. You're doing just fine. But when I say evenly, I mean it. A sword has two sides, like a lot of other things, including myself. Turn it over and continue on the other side. Nice. Now try forging it on both sides. The closer it is to being finished, the more it will take on the shape you want. It'll cool off soon anyway. It's cooled now. You can't do it all in one go. You've got to put it back in the furnace from time to time. Sometimes you've got to go there and back all day. But it's all part of the craft. Now, get back to the forge and heat it all up again, like before. The whole thing is heated up now, so come over to the anvil. Well struck. That's the ring you want. Well struck. See how it's taking on the right shape? That's how you can tell it's almost finished. Now, I've got a piece of advice for you. Hammer to a rhythm. When I hammer a piece to a beat, the work goes by easier. Sometimes I'll whistle to myself to keep the rhythm going. The sparks. That's the stuff. There you go. You've got it finished. All that's left is to temper it. And the sword will be done. The rest is just tweaking.
Why the long face?
Oh, I've just got this nasty premonition.
What premonition?
I've got a barrel of ale at home. I'm afraid it'll go bad on me. Someone should really do something about that. It's about those two idiot hands of mine, Venser and Franzi. They drove off with a cart full of goods towards Semine, and they never came back.
Do you want me to find them?
Just so. But more importantly, I want to know where my cart ended up, and especially the cargo. Go to Semine and find out what the bloody hell happened.
Have you any idea which way they might have gone? I could have a look along the way. Maybe their cart broke down or something.
There's only one road to Semine that can take a cart. It leads from Tachov to Troskovitz, and then to the south. But I've got a bad feeling they got up to no good in Semine.
Those two hands of yours, Venser and Franzi, what can you tell me about them?
Can't tell you much. They're wandering laborers. I don't think they wanted to stay here with me for long, but these days I can use all the help I can get.
Were they suspicious in any way?
No, they worked hard. They ain't no slackers. And I can't say that about everyone.
What was the cart carrying?
Bugger and bollocks. All sorts of stuff. I'd say Lord Semine wants to rearm his garrison with new equipment. There were some hunting swords, bastard swords, crossbow bolts. I also fixed the trigger on young Semine's crossbow. And some kitchen stuff. Sacks of charcoal, all sorts of things. There's a good month's work in that cartload.
All right. I'll get right on it then.
Go ahead. And if you find that pair of fools drunk, kick their asses for me.
Gladly. I'll kick some sobriety into them.
What's that? Hey, fellow! We're an honest lot.
Are you a blacksmith?
And you? Gentleman's manservant, I reckon.
You deserve a clobbering for how poor a judge of people you are.
Be my guest. I'm Yira. Hard as nails and happy to flatten you any time of the day. Careful, though. I don't like blades.
Glad to hear that. From one blacksmith to another.
Oh, sorry, brother. I didn't take you for someone who could swing a hammer.
Well, I love smithying, but I have a lord I must serve. What are you doing here? Where's your anvil?
Our forge has gone undone for. And these folk around me lost all they had, too.
So war, eh? It's a shitty thing.
Aye, well, that's just the way it is. By God's grace, I still have 2 hands, and I can always find work. I could do with a bit of coin right now. Fancy having a wrestle? For money?
All right, let's wrestle. Because I'm quite sure I'm the better fighter.
Great! I wouldn't be so cocky if I was you, though. I know a few tricks. I'll be done with you in no time. And because I'm so confident, I say we spice it up with a few groschen. What do you say?
I don't have the time. And I'm out of coin now, anyway.
I knew you'd chicken out and not take a wager. Well, what's to be done, eh?
Well, that's nice now. Are you looking for my husband? You won't find him here today.
Ave Maria. A bit over here.
What happened? You look worried.
My husband Vostatek left to go hunting and hasn't come back. I'm worried that something happened to him. He's von Burgo's lead huntsman, and the forest is full of poachers these days.
Maybe he just got caught up somewhere.
Not a chance. We're invited to young Lord Semin's wedding. He wouldn't dare miss that by wandering around the woods for so long. What would Lord Semin think if we didn't show up? It would be a disgrace. He sometimes loses track of time out in the woods, but I've got a really bad feeling about it this time. One time, Vostatek didn't come home for 4 days after his horse broke its leg in the woods. I had a feeling right away that something bad had happened. And I have that same feeling now. Do you reckon you could help me?
Does that happen often? That he gets lost in the woods?
He disappears for a while from time to time when he gets orders from Lord von Burgo. And besides that, well...
What is it? You can tell me.
He drinks a bit sometimes. Then everything takes him longer. His job isn't easy, so I understand when he does, and I don't get upset with him.
I understand. But maybe you're right, and it really is something else this time.
Exactly.
Do you know where he might be? Where's his hunting ground?
In all the forests here around Vidlak Pond. He didn't tell me exactly where he was going, but maybe Vitek knows.
Vitek?
Our son.
So your husband got lost when he was out hunting, and you want me to go and find him?
I'd go myself, but Vostatek doesn't want me going to the woods on my own. He says it's dangerous. But you look like a fearless lad, and I'll be sure to reward you for your efforts.
Why did Vostatek forbid you from going to the forest? Is it really that dangerous?
There are wolves, boars, and worse out there.
What could you meet in the forest that's worse than an angry boar?
Well, people, of course. All sorts of cutthroats and thieves hide out in those woods. So watch your back.
I'll keep that in mind. All right. I'll bring Vostatek back to you.
Thank you. I wouldn't send you if I didn't think it was necessary, but I have a really bad feeling about this. Before you leave, please make sure to talk to Vitek. Maybe he'd know where his father was headed.
All right. I'll let you know as soon as I find something.
Be careful out there.
See you later, my friend.